Well guys, I gotta show you this. The wife loves the picnic, so I've done a bouquet a picnic for her. She'll love that. In this video, I'm going to show how I make moose jerky. A couple people requested me to do this video. I was planning on soon making a batch of jerky, and since the wife leaves today to go on meetings, I can't be going too far. So, you know, it's a great time to make a batch of jerky and to film it as well. This moose right here, I put away for long-term storage. I wrapped it up really tight and in bigger pieces like this, and I put it in the bottom of the freezer and made sure it never got moved around or anything. And when it was soft, you know, all the moose fit really tight together in the freezer. And I'm telling you, it can keep a long time like that. I'm gonna put at the end of this video, I'm gonna put a link there so you could actually go and see when this moose was harvested. And you won't believe how old this moose meat is. I'll kind of spot it. I'll show the tag here. You can still go watch the video. When we got this moose was cut up, wrapped up, and put in the freezer within hours of being harvested. So there's a scatter here and there. That's nothing. I'm just gonna trim it up real nice. So the lining here is really tough. Cut all that off. Yeah, we've been enjoying a lot of moose jerky and burgers and all that good stuff lately. I'm just gonna using this meat up now. Let's hope for a big game license now to fall and stock the freezer up good again. I'm gonna trim all this off. Nice and clean underneath. Now I got a lot of the slag and stuff cut off there, but normally, you know, with the leg muscle, like this calf muscle right here, I normally keep that for soup and actually use a higher quality meat for jerky, because I'm wondering with the calf muscle for jerky, you know, it takes longer to trim up for sure. I just try to clean off the bone as best as I could, but any little bits of meat that's left on there will be scraped off and cut off and thrown in the bowl. None of the good meat will be wasted, that's for sure. And this bone, I'm going to keep this bone. I got another couple in the freezer as well, and those, you know, you could saw them up. Great, you know, for when you're making stew. But one of these days as well, me and the little fella's going to take one out and roast it up out on the fire outdoors. I tell you, that's going to be fantastic. Definitely will be making a video of that. A hunk of muscle right there. Now, this bone will be going in the freezer. And I'm going to finish trimming up the rest of the meat. See, I was going to show this now. This is like some of the calf muscle there, and like got sinew and cartilage or whatever all gone through it everywhere. And I find, like, normally I use this in soup, and I find like that in soup, it kind of goes kind of gluey almost, like, or whatever. But in jerky now, it's going to be impossible to get it all out. But yeah, see, take the tougher stuff out, like that, and like that there. As you can see, you notice a nice pile of sinew and cartilage or whatever there, and there is little scraps of meat left on some of it, and I'm going to keep some of that for treats for our dog, Honey. And this bone is going to go in the freezer now, and so this is pretty much the first step. You know, cut up your meat, get it ready for the grinder, and I'll probably trim up a little bit of that again now as I'm shuffling it through, or just before I shuffle through. I'll just show this again. Look at that, look, 2019. I wanted to show this as well. This is a calf muscle that I cut up not real long ago, and I vacuum packed it with the Viva vacuum packer. And this I got kept for soup. That's what I normally use it in, and it makes a fine pot of soup. See, these moose bones, you know, they're great for working out with too, you know. Oh yeah. Oh, burning now. Yeah, I keep some of my gear here in the shed, and lately I've been bringing it back and forth quite often, but hopefully this will be the last time for a while. So first now I gotta get the grinder and spices. Now every time I make jerky or use any of the gear that I store out in the shed, once I'm done I clean it up really well and put it in freezer bags. So now, like, you know, no dust or anything will get on it, and so now I'll just take it out of these freezer bags and be pretty much ready to use. grind up moose meat for jerky or moose burgers, I use the smallest one. Now we are ready to grind up the moose meat. First thing I do after I get the meat grind is I take the grinder apart and I rinse everything over. I find, especially this piece right here, but once it's left out and the meat dry on, it just gets harder to clean later. So it's much easier to do that first. I'm going to be using two different flavors of jerky spice. So I'm going to half this up, do half of one flavor and half another. And this is what I've been using mostly lately. I was actually out of spice and we was in Lab City, so I picked these up the other day. And the little fella here really loves the teriyaki, so I got to make teriyaki for he. And Jill and Anna like this one better. Me, I like them both. It doesn't matter. They're both good. But really, just use the type of spice that or flavor you like best. And sometimes I guess it just depends on what you have available in your area as well. But this is what I've been using lately. I really like these. Now with these packs of seasoning here, each pack is good for about 15 pounds of meat. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to half in each bowl, weigh it, and then I'll figure out how much cure and how much seasoning I need per pound. And every pack you buy or different brands would be probably different. But on these, a quarter pound of cure for quarter teaspoon of cure for 3 teaspoons per pound of meat. And sometimes, you know, I actually hold back a bit of cure. I find it a bit too salty. And especially I vacuum pack and freeze it after anyway, so it'll keep really good that way as well. I should also add, you know, some people just cut their meat in strips and does it that way, but with this pack right here, for ground meat, use the same measurements and mix. But that may be different if you're using a different brand, but for this brand, this bag right here, just use the same amounts, no matter if you're using strips of meat or ground meat. It's pretty close to 3 pounds in each one, and that's perfect. I got a bit here, and it's gonna be moose burgers for supper this evening. Enough for a nice burger each there. Since I'm using the same brand of seasoning and cures, I just opened up the one bag of cure, and I'll use he first, and then I'll open up the other one when time comes, because I'm only using a portion of these here right now. Now, I only took the moose meat out of the freezer last night, and so it's still a nice bit of chill in that meat. I'm telling you, when you're mixing that up, the hand can get pretty cold. I know, I've been there and done it. But the main thing now is just to mix your cure and your seasoning your meat together really well. All right, I got it covered now, and I'm still going to put it in the refrigerator. And on here it says lay the strips flat in a bowl, cover, refrigerate for 24 hours. And but I normally refrigerate for 12 to 14 hours or so. And I'm going to mention as well, because I'm going to put the spice back out in the shed. Now you can do your jerky in a smoker, barbecuer, or dehydrator. I usually heat dehydrator, but for the oven, 2 hours at 200 degrees, and So, but the times will vary depending on what you use to do your jerky in. You're getting really sleepy. People have been at, oh, she's cold. That's when I get her in. People have been asking to see, oh, she's really cold. We gotta go in. Here, look, little treat for you. People have been asking to see Honey. She got groomed not too long ago. I get another little bit for her in. It's cold in the shed here. I just come out and put the grinder back, and I'll bring in the dehydrator for later on tonight. No way to get that now. As well, I want to give a shout out to Jace Ward. You know, he's just 6 years old. He watches the videos with his father all the time. He loves hunting, fishing, and he loves all kinds of wild game like seal and rabbit and partridge or whatever. It's not too much that he don't like. So all I could say, Jace, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. So I was going to give a shout out on the Williams Harbor trip, but it's so cold we postponed it for a later date. And this weekend now King's Quest starts, so I'll be going out that way. So I said I'll get it in this video. So I really appreciate it, Jace, for watching all the videos and stuff. And I know you're going to be a hell of an outdoorsman. You probably is already, but as you get older, you'll get more skills and stuff. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. And for making the jerky, I use the jerky cannon. And for dehydrator, I use the Chef Man. And this one, I must say, is really simple to use. You got 6 large trays and do a nice big batch, you know. So I must say, you know, I bought both of these years ago and absolutely no complaints whatsoever. Now, the jerky cannon is pretty simple. It's like a big cocking gun. There's a tube. You just fill this tube up full of meat. And you got, you either make round or flat jerky. And what I always do now is when I'm doing 2 different types of jerky, the teriyaki always go round, and the traditional or the original flavors always goes flat. And so I don't get it mixed up that way. I could even put like this 2 different types of jerky in the same tray in the dehydrator, and I'll still know which is which. So I got the teriyaki here first. And I'm telling you, it smells fantastic. So I'm going to use the round nozzle first. And it's pretty simple. Just put the round nozzle on one end of the jerky cannon. Just like that. So what you do, you fill up the tube full of meat. And then you screw this piece on the other end. And as you keep pressing like that, the plunger pushes the meat out through the tube, out through the nozzle on the end. And you do that then until the tube is emptied of meat, and then you push this one back here, haul back and screw in, and fill up the tube again, and just keep doing it till you use up all your jerky meat. So now I just cleaned my hands. So what I normally do to get the meat down the tube, I kind of make it like kind of round, just so it'll fit in the tube like that, and just make sure it goes right down to the bottom of the tube. Get as much as in there as you can. Not too big of pieces, right? Because they're kind of sticky. Stick to the sides of the tube. And keep pushing it down. And get as much in this tube as I can. Keep pushing it down. And when you get down to the bottom, you'll hear the air and that coming out. So I'll just push it right on down. And I'll say it again. It smells fantastic already. Oh. See, he's getting pretty full there now, so I'll push it a bit more. Push it a bit more, get as much in there as I can. So, you know, the more you get in, the less times you got to refill. Yeah, like that. I think that's pretty good there. Like that. And what I normally do is I wash my hands. Then after I get the tube filled up, you just screw this piece on the other end, and you get one of your trays. On these trays, I start at the end and I come down about 3. See the little ridge there? So I make them with that line there, and just make them all broadside, parallel. They come to the end, and then I give them a gap, and then put the same length again. And then, in the end, it's not line enough. I usually goes the other way with them then, just 4 or 6 or whatever. When you first start pressing, you'll hear a bit of air coming out. I'll push all the meat together. Oh, there it is. And like I said, up as far as the third one, I just use my thumb. Make another one broadside to that one. And it really is just in repetition over and over again until the tube runs out of meat. Sometimes a little bit comes out like that. I just throw that back in the bowl. You don't want to be pushing your trigger too fast, or the meat will just come out too fast. And you don't need a real wide gap between the meter. I must say, like I said, I had this for years now, the Canon and that dehydrator, and you have absolutely no trouble with it whatsoever. And I give it a fair amount of use as well, you know. A lot lately. Now I'm going to put this one in the dehydrator and get another tray out. I'll hold the plunger back. Now you can fill it up on either end, I guess. I usually fill it up on the plunger end, but yeah. Now sometimes on this end is a little harder to get in this filled because the nozzle, you know, is plugged up with the meat, and so a little harder for the air to escape. So lots of times after that, you don't get quite as much in it. So another tray full done. All right, now I got the flat nozzle on, so I'm doing the traditional now. And you want your nozzle like that. You don't want it up like that, right? And one good thing, you can rotate this part right here to make it whatever you feel comfortable holding. If you're looking like that or like this or whatever, right? So he rotates here. That's great. And so that's why I do it this way. And let's get her started. Now the first couple of sticks, I would call them traditional teriyaki because there was probably a little bit of teriyaki meat left in there. So the first couple, next to those round ones, will be my first testers. Get those out of the way, you know. Yep, so doing it this way, I'll always know that that's teriyaki, and I always know that that's traditional. Like I said, that could be mixed up a little bit the first couple. And another tray full done. You go this way. All right, so we got all our meat used up. Just take apart the cannon. But up in this piece up here, there's still some meat left up in this area. Like that. So if you wanted to, you could put your hand in a plastic bag and just push it through the nozzle if you wanted to. Maybe it's a line. Get every little last bit out. Well, I must say that worked out pretty good. I made a couple of small ones there when I pushed it out with my finger, but I filled up the 6 trays perfectly. All 6 is fully full. Just look at that. All right, now I'm gonna just plug in the shift man and just show you how simple this is to use. So to the far right, you see a time and temperature. So I push E, shows the temperature. Pushing shows the time. You want to adjust the time, negative, 158 degrees is the highest. So leave it at that, hit time, and for 6 hours. And you could try it if you wanted to. You can give it another hour or two after if you want, but 6 hours seems like it works out pretty good for me. And just hit, and that's all is to it. Yep, I had the dehydrator now running through the night. She stopped there sometime early in the morning. So I'm gonna plug her there now. And let's see here. Ooh, 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 just look at that. And I'm gonna try those two pieces here first. Right here. Oh, I'll say it again. The smell is unbelievable. There's the ones now that probably kind of mixed up a little bit. Well, guys, I tell you, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I'm enjoying this jerky, because if you did, this video was a hell of a treat to you. Yep. I guess that's it for this one though, guys. I really appreciate y'all watching. Take care. All the best from the big land.